Welcome everyone to 3 messy IEP mistakes and learn how to become a master IEP coach. I'm excited to dig in with you today on 3 things that are happening right now in special education that quite honestly you can change quite easily. But you can't change things if you don't know what is wrong, right? So for those of you that don't know, I've been in the field professionally for over 25 years. I used to be a special education teacher, but I found myself teaching by day and then coaching parents and my colleagues by night, teaching them how to build IEPs for the real world because I'm a special needs sibling. And my brother is 43 with Down syndrome. And I know what it's like long term when it comes to did an education work or didn't it work? Or what maybe could have been done better? We all worry about what's going to happen in the future. And we're actually going to start our conversation today talking about the future because it is the foundation of the IEP. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I am going to tell you where to look. I am going to reference IDEA law because that's the foundation for everybody who has an IEP, no matter what state you're in. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, is this something that really applies to me? Yes, it is. So in the purpose and findings of the IDEA law that is governing the IEP document, it says that every student is to receive a free and appropriate public education. You probably already knew that. In fact, that's what causes most of the stress in special education. We're always arguing over this word appropriate because what I think is appropriate is different than what you think is appropriate, which is different than what they think is appropriate. So we're really negotiating this very vague word appropriate. What often happens is we forget the second part of this statement and the third part of that statement. It's not just to provide a free and appropriate public education. It's also to make sure that we're meeting a child's unique needs and that a child is prepared for further education, employment, and independent living. In other words, we are not going to build an IEP just so we can keep up with the other kids, just so they can do well on a test, just so they can fit into the standard viewpoint of what inclusion should be. No, we're going to use this document to prioritize what needs to happen to prepare a child for further education, employment, and independent living. Now, tell me, where are you watching from and what is your current role at the IEP table? I'm here live with you. If you're watching the replay, you can go ahead and do these things too. I encourage you to go ahead and leave the comments just as if you are watching live, because I definitely get alerts and I will respond to as many as I can. So tell me, where are you watching from and what's your current role at the IEP table? Also, as I'm talking, you can go ahead and leave any questions that you have. I'm going to cover 3 messy IEP mistakes happening right now. I'm going to share with you how to become a master IEP coach, and you can go ahead and ask questions about that below too. As I continue to go through, I'll be checking these comments, figuring out where are you guys from, what's your role at the IEP table, and what questions do you have? So now that we have our foundation, right? So now we're focused. We know that we're no longer going to accept just that general description of an appropriate education, that we're going to really look at a child's unique needs and what do they need to get prepared for further education, employment, and independent living. That is a heavy load for a teacher to carry. It is a heavy decision at the IEP table to figure out what needs to happen to prepare a child for further education, employment, and independent living. But there's a key piece of the IEP that is 100% necessary for this to even come close to working. And that's the parent input statement. So let me see, who do we have here today? We have Becky from Pennsylvania. Hello, she's a parent. She's also an advocate for other families. Becky, you're gonna love, if you're not already a Master IEP coach, stick around to find out how you can get not just the bonuses for the Master IEP Coach program that are listed, but an extra one because you're here today. So Tiffany is a parent. Tiffany, I think that you and I have messaged a bit. It's great to see you here. That's Tiffany Powell. We have Tiffany McNeil watching from Washington, D.C., a social worker who attends meetings to advocate. Oh, you're going to love this stuff too. Jessica, 3 different kids with IEPs. So you're the mom. Yes, you are. In fact, this first messy mistake is something that you're going to bust out your kids' IEPs, all 3 of them. I know it's a lot. Okay. And you're going to look for this parent input statement. This parent input statement could be called something like parent educational concerns. It might be called parent vision statement. Remember, I said everything that I'm sharing with you today has to do with the federal law not a lawyer telling you where to look. All right. But it's a federal law that says that parents have a place in the IEP to participate. It may be labeled something different than what I'm referencing right now, but I promise you it's in there. Now, inside of this parent input statement, so many times we have old school parent input statements. Let me tell you some examples. It would say something like, Mom is worried that child keeps leaving coat on the bus. Is that important? Absolutely. We got to remember our coat when we go places. But is that something that should be in the parent input statement? Not just by itself. All right. Or we have, Mom has no concerns at this time. Seriously? Have you ever met a special needs mom who did not have any concerns at this time? Because you know what? I've been in the special needs community my entire life. I was raised by a special needs mom, right? Because I told you I have a brother with Down syndrome. There is no such thing as mom has no concerns at this time. In fact, let me tell you that when I became a teacher and I walked into my classroom and it's completely empty, welcome to special education teaching, completely empty. I had a milk crate of IEPs sitting on my desk. This was before computers, you guys. Okay. So, all right, we had a computer, but not the computerized IEP forms and the way that we get them now. It's like a luxury now. We typed ours out with whiteout. Yeah. I'm not going to talk anymore about that. Okay. So walk in, have our stack of IEPs. And I was looking as a new teacher of like, what's the child's present levels of performance? What should they be working on? What materials do I need? What needs to happen? And I was getting all that information. And then I was like, what do the parents want? Because I knew that the only way that my classroom was going to run smooth is if I had a home to school connection at an extremely high level. I got to know what mom wants, what dad wants. I got to know the family dynamics of what's going on and how I can actually be a resource for the family and make sure that we're focused on the right things. Because remember, I told you, I was raised by a special needs mom. I know what it sounds like from the family side to have a mom call up to the school and say, this is not going right. I knew the stress that the parents felt when things weren't going well, when they're worried about the well-being of their child, not just for, reading and math skills, but we're talking about all the different areas, all the different domains. So I looked at these parent input statements and I'm like, they're not telling me a whole lot. So I called up the parents and I'm like, hey, what do you want in these areas? Social, emotional, behavioral, communication, academics. And they're like, what? Are you seriously asking us? I'm like, yeah. Your child has a reading deficit, and there is a lot of things that I could work on. The IEP has a couple of goals in there in this area, but there's so much more that I can do. So what else would you like to be working on? What are we working towards? What are you worried about? What keeps you up at night? And I just spoke to them how I would talk to, any special needs mom that I would meet out in the community. Like, wow, man, that's worrying you. I totally get that. Let's see if we can work on that. So we built a parent input statement, and inside of the Master IEP Coach program, I'm going to teach you how to do that in depth. I just gave you the outline. Old school parent input statements, no good. Really getting parents focused. And parents, if you're like, I tried this, but the school didn't listen, I promise you, I have a format for you that typically gets a response within about 24 hours from the school in a positive, collaborative way that basically says, the school saying, we hear your concerns. We got you. We're going to be addressing these. That doesn't mean that you're going to get everything that you ask for in a parent input statement. It doesn't mean that all the hopes and dreams are going to come true in 1 year, but it does grab the attention because as much as I'm talking about, this is great, let's have home to school connection at a really high level. There are definitely legal ways to get this done that are ugly. And then there are collaborative, direct ways to get this done without being pushed over. You can use the foundation of what needs to happen in special education without being a pushover and without throwing people under the bus. You can make old school parent input statements go away out of the IEP without even an IEP meeting. Because who the heck wants to sit at another IEP meeting if it's not necessary? Not me. You? No. All right, let's see who else is here. Remember, if you just joined us, I want to know, where are you from? What's your role at the IEP table? And then let me know if you have questions as we go, because I'm going to keep popping down here into the comments. So we've got Deandra from California, and she's a teacher. We've got a bunch of people that just popped down here. Let's see. We have Brenda from Illinois. Brenda, I'm in Illinois right now. I know exactly what the Illinois system looks like from the inside out. I have worked in almost all 50 states as a speaker, as a consultant. I've been flown to different school districts and worked on inclusion plans and put together teacher professional development and played a lot of different roles in special education. And most of the time it's pretty similar behind the scenes. I just have some real close experience in Illinois of what's happening here. Jen in Orlando, she's at the table as a parent and as a former teacher. That's one of the toughest roles because you have your education brain of, certain things, but then it's your child and then the heartstrings are tugging. Totally get that. We have a lot of I'm going to say dual role or dual experience people inside of the Master IEP Coach mentorship. We've got a parent from California. Let's see, we've got Susan. I'm the school age manager, Down syndrome Down syndrome organization. Her role is to support families. Love it. Jenna. Hey, Jenna. Let's see, high school special education teacher. I believe Jenna just joined us in the Master IEP Coach mentorship. And let's see, we've got New York here. We've got Indiana, extremely familiar with Indiana, Monica. Pennsylvania, Jody, we've got several Master IEP coaches in Pennsylvania, and they are busy, busy, busy. Lots going on over there. Hello, Maria from Illinois. All right, guys, keep your questions and letting me know where you're from, what your role is at the IEP table, so I can So I can connect with you. If you notice, I just said, oh my gosh, like Jenna, she just joined the Master IEP Coach mentorship. When you become a Master IEP Coach, it's not just signing up for an online course and online training. We're actually going to connect. It's a mentorship, which means I'm going to get to know your name. I'm going to get to know who you are. It's going to be in a group setting. So don't worry, it's not scary, right? Online group setting. I'm going to get to know what are your goals inside of the special education community, because we all have different things that we want to work on. Everybody's fuel kind of comes from a different place. Everybody's desires of like, why is this so hard? I wish somebody would fix it. I should really fix this. I don't know how to fix it. I'm going to teach you how to do that. A couple of things right now, and then way more in depth inside of the Master IEP Coach mentorship. Okay, so we have mistake number 1, old school parent input statements. Throw those out the window. Start working on making sure that input statements, parent educational concerns, cover those areas of academics, behavior, social, emotional, and communication. And when we put all of this into a formal format, we actually change the trajectory of a child's educational outcomes, not just short-term, but long-term. Remember, I'm looking long-term here. I'm not looking about what's going to happen in the next 12 months of your child's school year. I'm going to begin with the end in mind. Where do we need your child at age 22? That freaks out our parents who have kids that are under the age of 8. All right. So if you have a child who's under the age of 8 and I just went like too far in your brain and you can't think about it, it's okay. It's all right. I'll help you. I will help you break it down because every year is important. But if we don't look long term and kind of work backwards, and there's an easy way to do that. I know we can't predict the future, but we can do this. You can make a parent input statement that changes your child's education. As a teacher who is here, who's hearing this, you need this. I'm telling you, my life was so easy when it came to home to school communication and parent involvement when I nailed down how to get this process going, and I cannot wait to teach it to you. All right, let's talk about the second mistake. Then I'm going to pop down in the comments, see who else is here. So if you haven't told me where you're at and what your role is at the IEP table or left a question, now's your time while I go over this next mistake. This next mistake is accommodations and modifications without accountability. No matter what your role is at the IEP table, you most likely have experienced, especially in the last 9 months, the experience of this was supposed to be done, but it wasn't. This worksheet was supposed to be modified. This test was supposed to be modified. This extra program that reads, text to speech was supposed to be installed. Extra prompts were supposed to be given. Extra visuals were supposed to be created. Something was supposed to be done. And most likely these things were listed in the accommodations and modifications of your child or student's IEPs. I know, having been a teacher and looking at this list that goes on and on and on and on and on, of all the things that are supposed to happen for accommodations and modifications, again, feels heavy. Oh my gosh, how am I going to teach, lesson plan, individualize, and make sure all of these little bells and whistles inside of the IEP, all these little things that are supposed to be happening, how do I make sure that they get done? And that's what they feel like. They feel like extras, but they're not. They're the glue that makes everything else accessible. It's the stuff that's needed to support a child to make them as independent as possible. So when these things don't happen, everything falls apart. The problem is that inside of the document, 99% of the time, nobody knows who's exactly in charge of making sure that these things get done. Who's supposed to make sure the worksheet gets modified for English class during inclusion? Who's supposed to make sure that the visuals are present during gym class for inclusion? Who's making sure that everything is running in a way where extended time on tasks or tests, or even extended time just in response of getting a demand put on the child, that all of these things are accessible? It doesn't always have to fall on the teacher. Teachers just went, what? Lean in, okay? Parents, you absolutely can help in this section and say, who's responsible for this? I can tell you, I was sitting at an IEP meeting next to a mom, and the special ed director wasn't a fan of mine. That's okay. It doesn't have to be a fan of mine. I knew I was doing right by the kid. And we try to make things as collaborative possible, but we all know there's sticky conversations in special education, right? So we come up with this behavior kind of strategy. It wasn't a full-blown behavior plan, but we needed some additional supports. We needed some additional visuals, a different reward system, just some different things that needed to happen for this child. And we had been through some tough conversations. We finally get to some agreement. Okay, we're going to have this new chart, and we're going to have these new rewards, and we're going to have this new prompts, and we're going to have this new, all of these things. And everybody's like, yes, we're on board. And we look at the director and we're like, we're on board. We can do this. Like, thumbs up. He was very hands-on in a micromanaging way, okay, which can be very tough. And so he's like, yes, sounds good. And everybody's quiet. And I say, okay, so who's going to do this? And the director's like, well, the team. I said, I understand the team is going to do this. I love that the team is going to do this. But who is responsible for the visuals? Who's responsible for teaching the child each step? Who's going to communicate between home and school to make sure this is happening? Because it was a kind of a tandem kind of program. It had to happen in both home and school for a reward system. Who's going to do this? Like, who's going to make the behavior chart? Because that would have all fallen on the teacher, and it would have taken weeks to get it, going. I've been a teacher. I know. All right. So, well, I don't know. And I said, well, we need to figure this out. So then I said, well, does the speech therapists hate when you say speech teacher. So speech therapist, occupational therapist, I look at them and I said, do you guys have consult minutes that you can help put together the tools for this? And they kind of looked to the director for permission and kind of nodded their head like, yeah, we could do that. And he goes, well, that sounds good. What do you need? 15 minutes a week, 20 minutes, whatever we decided, 15, 20 minutes a week. We put in who was responsible for implementing these new accommodations and modifying some of the environment that needed to be modified, putting this together. Next thing you know, we got a plan, we got accountability, we've got a timeline, we're good to go. I never had to sit at that IEP meeting again to make sure that this move forward, because the communication was there. So accommodations and modifications are super important. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and pop down here in the comments the link to the Master IEP Coach mentorship, just because I know some of you guys can't stay here the whole time. Totally get it. Life's busy. But I'm going to share with you a bonus that is happening because you're here. So before you click on that link, listen to this. It's really good. I promise you. Okay. So the American... Oh, again, I don't have my sticky note in front of me. I had it last week when we did this. But there's an American training and development program, okay? And they do research on how people meet goals. I mean, that's all special education is about, right? But I know that you have goals. You have goals to change special education. You have goals to change your child's education, to be better as a teacher, to really make a difference. And their research said that if you make yourself accountable to somebody else, in a training and development program, which is what the Master IEP Coach mentorship is, you are 65% more likely to reach your goal. So think about that. You're like a teacher. You're like, you know what? I need to nail these IEP things. And maybe I even want to become an educational consultant someday. Maybe I want to do consulting for parents. Maybe I want to become a professional development speaker. Maybe your vision is both in the classroom and outside the classroom. You don't know your timeline just yet. You're like, yes, I've got goals. If you sign up for the Master IEP Coach mentorship, they say that making this accountability to yourself and into a program makes you 65% more likely to meet this goal. If you're a parent and you're like, I want to help myself and help other parents. I don't know when I'm going to help other parents. Maybe soon. Might take me a little bit, but I'm going to help other parents. I'm going to help schools understand students with special needs on a whole new level. If you're a parent, you're 65% more likely when you commit to it. Not just, I'm going to get better. I'm going to read that book. Okay. So now Becca Sue says, literally why I signed up. Love it. Becca, welcome, welcome. So here's the thing. Here's why you can't click on that link just yet. You can click on it in like 30 seconds. Your bonus is that I'm going to give you a meeting with me one-on-one. I want to get to know who you are, what your goal is, right? But what I read in this research is that if you have a second appointment, like a specific accountability appointment, did you meet your goal? You are 95% more likely to meet your goal. You guys, I am all in with you on changing special education. I told you I've been doing this for over 25 years. I'm still excited about it in case you can't tell. And that's because I see change every day. There are hundreds of Master IEP coaches active right now, today, working with schools, working with clients, working with people who are changing the outcomes of IEPs because of things like getting rid of old school parent input statements, because they're making teams accountable in a proactive, collaborative way for this. So I'm going to give you a second call with me, a coaching call, to make sure that you have that 95% chance of getting to, I'm just looking at the comments down here, of getting to your goal of creating change in special education. All right. So here's what happens. You click the link, you sign up, and then you send me an email that says, I get to, because you're here. You're not going to see it anywhere. It's not in writing anywhere. I'm telling you that when you sign up for the Master IEP Coach mentorship, you get one bonus coaching call that's listed on there, but you get a second one because you're here. All you have to do is email me and say, I got to. And then you're going to get a message from me actually this week that gives you a link to my calendar. You're going to set it up. We're going to meet. It's going to be awesome. So go ahead and click that link now if you're ready. If you're like, I'm all in, let's see what this is. Go ahead and click that link. Figure out if this next step of becoming a Master IEP Coach might be right for you. Here's the thing though. This is the last Master IEP Coach mentorship of the school year. Can we all admit that we have a crazy IEP season up and coming on us? Placement decisions. Did children make progress? Are schools going to be open? So many different things are happening. So because of that, I'm going to be dedicated to this next Master IEP Coach mentorship, which it's a dual type program, which means some of it is pre-recorded for you. Some of it is live. But I also record all of the lives because you're busy. Remember, I'm a special needs sibling and I was a teacher. I built this for the busiest people I know. You'll never miss a thing no matter what your schedule is. 100% fits in there. Deandra says she signed up last Friday. Hello, Deandra. All right, so you're getting two. Jessica says, is your email included on there? When you sign up, you'll get an email directly from me, but it's Catherine@CatherineWitcher.com. Super easy. Jessica, if you need to send me something. Becca says she signed up a few weeks ago. Awesome, Becca. So watch for an email this week that has my calendar link in there so you can get your two. Hello, Kim. Hello, Lisa. All right. So now we've talked about, let's see, we have Alabama and California. Love it, guys. Hello, hello. All right. So we've talked about old school parent input statements. We've talked about accommodations and modifications. Now we're going to talk about the third mistake that is happening right now that you can make it stop. Absolutely, you can make it stop. Keeping low priority IEP goals. Again, I can bet that every one of you here watching has experienced some type of conversation that went like this. Okay, so with everything that's happening right now, let's look at the IEP goals. Well, we don't have to work on this right now. We'll make sure we'll get to it later in the semester, but we really need to work on these things over here. And then that thing that you put to the side keeps on getting minimal to no attention for pretty much the past year. Can you guys relate to that? Throw an emoji in the comments. If you're just like your favorite emoji, whatever emoji, throw an emoji in the comments. If you're like, yeah, we have definitely pushed aside some IEP goals. Not everything has seemed like it's a high priority during this high stress time. We've, let go of some of the things that we were so stressed out of before because we've got different stressors that are happening now. But here's the key. I know we're in extreme times right now, but this is also a reflection of life after school. What's happening right now when we're like, okay, we're not going to focus on maybe learning the same vocabulary words as some other kids because we have some really important vocabulary words that need to happen for independent functioning at home, for the routines, for independent reading, for moving our reading forward. We've got different skills that we need for math versus maybe what was being focused on in the classroom. Now, if you go back to the old school way of working on IEP goals, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We might use this in the future. We might not. This isn't the curriculum, so we should probably work on it. Stop. No way. You have an opportunity right now. Like you have a magnifying glass on the IEP document that says, this is important, this is not important. In the worst of times that we've had over the past year, there are certain IEP goals that you're like, we got to work on this. And there were certain IEP goals that you're like, I don't know. So maybe we can let this one go for a little bit. All right. So it's super important that you learn how to differentiate between high priority and low priority IEP goals. Notice I didn't say that I'm going to teach you how to write a SMART goal. No, you can Google that. All right. Everything inside of the Master IEP Coach mentorship, it's trademarked. It's trademarked by like the United States Trademark Office. I had to prove that this is unique information that you can't get anywhere else. This is not cut and paste information of like, how to write a better IEP. That's the mechanics. I'm going to teach you life, right? Of like what works, what doesn't work. I'm going to give you 25 years of experience and the perspective of a teacher and of a special needs sibling of how to pull this document together in a way that empowers a child to be prepared for further education, employment, and independent living. This is not about writing a picture perfect cookie cutter goal. I actually call those junk goals. Not that I don't want a well-written goal. I want a SMART goal. Okay. For those of you that don't know what I mean when I'm saying SMART, specific and measurable and actual and it's result oriented in time. There's all these, different acronyms that we have in our IEP land of making sure everything goes the right way. Again, you can Google all of that. That's the what. What needs to get done? A SMART goal. How do you pick the best one? That's what we're going to work on. You can go read what is supposed to be in an IEP. Go read that in a law book. In fact, I tell you in week 1, like, here's my favorite books that tell you what should be in an IEP. Now I'm going to teach you how to make that happen without using all the ugly words and threats in special education. Without, teachers always say, can I do this and keep my job? Yes, you can. I did. Absolutely did for a few years. And then I've been doing this full time for a really long time. Okay. So, parents are like, I really don't want to file state complaints and go do process. Good. I don't want you to either. I want you to fix the IEP and move forward because you've got other things to do in life. Okay. So we're going to, really work together to make this a functional document that makes sense and that it really works for everyone to come together for a child. So let's see. I'm going to keep on scrolling down here. I see some emojis here, which means you guys know what it feels like to, have to make decisions of what's happening in the IEPs. What do we need to do next? Tiffany says, we're struggling because we don't always know. Yeah, let me pop Tiffany up here. We're struggling because we don't always know what we can ask for and what resources and accommodations are available or what are really good IEP goals. So I'm going to teach you really good IEP goals. And this is going to sound terrible. Okay, ready? We don't know what's available. I don't care what's available when it comes to certain conversations, because sometimes we need to create what is needed. So don't ever feel like you're limited to what is currently available. It's not just about the resources. It's about having resourcefulness. Okay. When I ran down to Kentucky to go do some consulting, a school district flew me in because they were having a heck of a time with a couple of students who were in inclusion in the Down syndrome community. Like, we're talking running away from school and hiding under desks and like just some things. Okay. Some pretty intense things. And they didn't have a ton of resources down there. So I had to get resourceful. Like, I went climbing into the crawl space, like basement area of the school. I literally took boxes to build what I needed for like a reward system and some partitions and some other things. And they were like, I made a sticker chart almost like on a wall, but it was really made out of cardboard. I mean, it was like this whole thing that I put together, not because the school had all of these resources. It was because you have to be resourceful. And it's not about, I can tell you, I live not very far from a school district, about an hour away, that was featured on Oprah. Yeah, I'm that old too. So featured on Oprah is one of the best school districts in the entire country. And I can tell you, I have several Master IEP coaches from that district. Reason being that just because there's money and resources doesn't mean that they have the best programs, because you have to be resourceful. So let's see. Becky said, just signed up. Becky gets 2. Becky gets 2. I'm so excited, Becky. I cannot wait to meet you. For those of you that are like, what the heck is this Becky gets 2 thing? You're going to find a link. In fact, I'll put it down there again. And this link, you're going to go sign up to become a Master IEP coach. You're not going to get 1 VIP coaching session. You're going to get 2, because research shows when you sign up and make a commitment, plus you have a specific accountability appointment with a person, that's me. Okay. You're 95% more likely to reach your goals. This is not something that you're just going to purchase and say, I'll get to that training later. Nope. We're going to be live together for 5 weeks, everything recorded. You're going to get to know. So Tiffany's going to get to know Becky, and then we have Becca, we have Jenna, we have all these people. You guys are going to get to know each other. You're going to get to know each other's experiences. You're going to get progress coaching from Master IEP coaches who have been there. Because I never want to hear from you like, Catherine, that's great that you did that, but I don't know if I can. I'm going to introduce you to over 100 Master IEP coaches that are active right now today. And they'll show you. And you're going to be led by 2. Lisa and Courtney are going to lead you through progress coaching. And they're going to share with you exactly how you're going to get started. They are proof of the program. Okay, so we have, let me pop over here. And I'm going to show you some real life Master IEP coaches. Now, while I'm doing this, go ahead and continue to put your IEP questions in the comments. I'm a teacher by heart. I built this program for teachers and parents, which means I'm going to share with you about the Master IEP Coach program, and I'm going to take your questions at the same time, because that's what we do as special education teachers. We multitask between. So go ahead and keep putting your questions in the comments, and I will get to as many as I can. Let me go ahead and do a little screen share here and share with you what the Master IEP Coach program looks like and walk you through. All right, we have, when you pop over to the page, you're going to see this. All right, now let me go ahead and scroll right through here. You're going to see a letter that I wrote for you, letting you know just a little bit about what we're going to work on inside of the Master IEP Coach mentorship. Now, I want to introduce you to Alex. Alex loves working on inclusion stuff. So she loves working in the twice exceptional community. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but that's a child who is gifted and then also has learning struggles. So she loves to put together programs that truly help integrate a child into the full curriculum, into their needs. And she said that, thank you so much for your kindness, wisdom, and helping me fulfill my passion of helping IEP teams work together collaboratively and build inclusion for every child. If that sounds like you, this is the right program for you. Maybe you're thinking, I don't know if I want to work in the schools. Is there something else that I can do as a Master IEP coach? Yeah, there is. This is Angela West Brown. Angela West Brown was hired by Georgia State University Ideal Program as a Master IEP coach to create a training for students with intellectual disabilities and their parents. So she followed the program and she said it was life-changing. What I love about Angela West Brown is that she is a special needs sibling who is absolutely passionate about combining her passion for lifelong learning, because like me, she's a special needs sibling. We get it from that side of things. And she didn't necessarily want to work right in the school. So she's works specifically with organizations and families who are making that transition out of high school into the real world and into college or other types of training programs. Angela is phenomenal. Andrea said signed up. Yes, welcome, Andrea. I'm so excited. You'll get your 2 VIP coaching sessions with me. I'm excited to dig in with you. I'm sure you guys can tell. I'm a little excited about this upcoming mentorship, and that's because I'm seeing change created. I know special education fell apart. Like, I know that, but I'm so excited at the opportunity to put it back together different than what it was. If your child's been out of school for a significant amount of time or has had this alternative schedule, there's no need to work towards getting back to what it was when you really can work towards making it something better. And we have this opportunity, and it's not just pie in the sky. Like I said, it's happening right now. Nicole actually just today, she was telling us about a couple of her clients that she's working with. She's in the Master IEP Coach Network. That's the advanced program after the mentorship. If you choose to follow up with us afterwards, there's another opportunity for you after the mentorship. So Nicole is in the network, and she completed her mentorship a couple years ago. But she's more of what I would say maybe traditionally what you think maybe a Master IEP coach would do. She takes clients one-on-one. She walks them through IEP meetings. Sometimes she attends by phone or in person. A lot of times she's coaching a parent before a meeting, and she's coaching them after the meeting. She's teaching them what to ask for, just kind of like the question we had by Tiffany earlier, what to ask for, how to figure out if it's good, how to pull all the resources together. But I love this because I've had this happen to myself. And when she told me about this, I went, yes, that means that you are absolutely on track, making an impact in the special education community. She had a special ed director pull her aside and ask how they could collaborate more. In fact, the school district refers clients to her. Like, what? Have you ever known a school district to be like, go work with this person. They'll help you make us do our job better? No, that's not what happens. But a special ed director who says, oh my gosh, I've never seen someone who could support the parents and be willing to work with the school and pull everything together. She said she went back to her car and she cried because being a Master IEP coach is exactly where she's supposed to be. And these are the type of people that you're going to be surrounded with. We have a teacher who joined us not that long ago, and she's a former classroom teacher in special education. She now works online building resources for teachers, and she had no idea. This is what she said to me. She had no idea that she needed a positive special education community as much as she did. And she's in our community, and we have teachers leading teachers. We have parents leading teachers. We have parents and parents. I mean, like, it's just collaborative, you guys. If you're expected to work together at the IEP table, why would you not learn together, right? So I hate the division in special education of like teacher training over here, parent training over there. No, all together. Now, do teachers need some certain, training, of course, for the classroom? 100%. But when it comes to IEPs and how things work, that's common knowledge that should be shared between all IEP team members. All right, I'm going to share with you just to make sure that, because I'm going to answer some of your questions here. Yes, you get lifetime access as long as this course is going. It is yours. All of the updates, everything. It's 100% flexible, and you're going to cover things like, we're going to do this together: IEP participation, an IEP success path, how you're going to make an impact, how you're going to work online if you choose to, if you want to take your new IEP skills and build this into an online impact. And that's a big part of where Master IEP coaches love to focus. We're going to talk about inclusion, IEP strategy checklist, even how to build your own website. Because you know what? Here's the bottom line. When you start doing what we are doing, people are going to ask you for help, right? People are probably already asking you for help. Like, hey, how do I write this goal? Or does this sound good? Or this school told me this. Does this sound right? Or your teacher that's hearing from other teachers like, hey, you're really good at this. Could you please help me? So you absolutely are going to become an IEP expert, and you're making an investment into this Master IEP Coach mentorship, and people will invest back into you for your knowledge, because you know what? They don't want to take the mentorship. They don't want to figure it out. They don't want to put the time in. And it's not because they don't care. It's because they do care. They're just like, hey, but you're the expert. Just cut the learning curve for me. Okay. So you can be that person in your community. So we have our modules here: IEP troubleshooting, parent input statement. We talked a little bit about that, how to get paid as a Master IEP coach. You're also going to have live Q&As 3 times a week, all recorded. So don't worry, you're not going to miss anything. Don't worry about exactly what the schedule is. You have a private community. Your lessons are going to be delivered weekly. Those progress coaches that I talked about and guest experts. You have our enrollment for February. This is it, guys, for the school year. You get swag. Everybody loves swag, right? Here's this Master IEP Coach trademark I was talking about. Super proud of that, because again, this tells you that this is not stuff you can Google. This is not your average, IEP 101 training. This is completely different. This is Courtney. This is Courtney's daughter, Hannah. Courtney is one of your Master IEP coaches inside of the program that will be leading the progress coaching sessions. And her and I have talked a whole lot about how there are really hard days, and the not knowing if, you're doing enough, and the heartbreak of missed milestones, and the late nights of not knowing if she was, just on track. And, she was doubting herself as a mom sometimes. We've all been there. Special needs moms are always second guessing themselves, and really leaning into this Master IEP Coach community and working together. I love being her mentor, but she's also found a community inside of this Master IEP Coach program. So she went on those days when she has that self-doubt, because we all do, right? That she absolutely has people that she can lean on in there. So let's keep going here, because I have a picture of the swag. You guys need to know what the swag is, right? So here we go. Here's some of our swag. You're going to get a t-shirt and a certificate, your 2 VIP coaching sessions, and we always send some other goodies also. Let's see. If you guys have any, I have to share just for a second about this. See that picture there? That was last summer. We have a VIP weekend in July in Milwaukee. This is an annual event, and it's where you get to meet people in real life. It's not just an online program. You can do everything online. Don't get me wrong. But again, I talk about the community a lot, because you shouldn't be doing this by yourself. There's a lot that goes into building an IEP that makes a difference, building an IEP that prepares the child for further education, employment, independent living. There's a lot of things that, need to be supported during the good times and the not so good times when it comes to special education. And so that's a bunch of us that gathered. We're already planning our Milwaukee event, and I'm laughing a little bit because I've got surprises, and I'm really, really bad at keeping surprises. But I will tell you that you will get an invite to the Milwaukee event if you choose to come. And I hope that you do, because I'd love to meet you in real life. So you'll get that invite. Everybody who completes the mentorship gets that invite. But those are your real live Master IEP coaches right there, who we just have way too much fun. Who knew special education could be so much fun? So with that, if you guys have any further questions, go ahead and leave those below. To everyone who just joined the Master IEP Coach mentorship, I'm heading over to my inbox right now so I can see who's with us, and I'm going to be creating that calendar link for you so we can get all set up for your 2 VIP coaching sessions. And if you have any questions at all, do not hesitate to reach out. This is a powerful program and group that truly can make a difference. Don't forget that when you sign up, let me know I get 2, and I'll make sure that you get on the calendar, and I cannot wait to work with you. Bye, everyone.